We've got some serious day tripping in store today. A little rock climbing, a little swimming holing, a little barbecue, all you can eat. Sounds pretty fantastic, doesn't it? But it's just a typical day when you head to Dripping Springs! This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Dripping Springs lies nestled in the Texas Hill Country, about 30 minutes west of Austin and about an hour north of San Antonio. It's early yet as we cruise into town, with plenty of time to explore Dripping Springs. And as the great Benjamin Franklin once said,
time is money.
But as the other old adage goes, you can have either time or money, not both.
Luckily, there are places in Dripping Springs that are rolling in both time and dough. But not the kind you're thinking.
This is a more hill country kind of time and a much more delicious kind of dough. Welcome to Roland and Time and Dough, a small town bakery and cafe that's adding a few words to the small town Texas breakfast vernacular. Words like fresh, local, organic, and European. And this is owner Fabian Ballone.
Where are you from?
I'm from Belgium.
Belgium? Wow. Well, how did you end up in Dripping Springs? Because you're not a local.
Love. My husband is from Houston and we moved here because we need to little bit more country flair.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. So most of the menu, is it breakfast mainly or?
No, lunch is pretty big too. We do all the breakfast, all the pastry, and then the eggs and the oatmeal and the yogurt and all the yummy good stuff.
The
and
yummy,
then
good
the
stuff.
lunch is more sandwich, lasagna, pizza on Sunday, all with fresh veggie from all the farmer around here.
Y'all grow anything here on site?
We do. We got a little garden in the back, and we do some herb, and she do some pepper, and we got Swiss starch, and yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
A little bit of time? A little bit
A
of time and
little
stuff?
bit of time to put in the dough.
Oh, there we are.
And then it's basically I follow what the customer wants. I never make in my life cinnamon roll. But you know, okay, they say you're gonna do cinnamon roll. It's like, okay.
Sure, yeah, of course I am.
All right,
Little
get some
dough.
book, get some stuff, get some recipe, and
Yeah.
practice and practice to when we get, the cinnamon roll.
What's the most popular thing here?
That's a very hard question because we get customer walk all the time and say, what's the best to all my girls there?
yeah.
And the breakfast croissant with pesto and cheese and
I
goat
think I may have to
cheese
get
melted.
that.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
That's a good one you need to try for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
More than
I know you
welcome.
need to get back in that kitchen.
I need to do some breakfast for
Yes,
some people.
thank you.
More than welcome.
As you see, you can toss out your cowboy bacon and egg preconceptions of breakfast in a small Texas town. This is something special, and it's only in Dripping Springs.
Food's fantastic. We come here every Saturday morning.
Is it weird to find a place like this in Dripping?
We're glad it's here because it's quaint, it's real personable. You walk in, they call you by name.
Come here about every Saturday morning, just with the kids while the wives get a little Saturday morning off. So yeah, it's
not
kinda
bad.
nice.
Yeah, sure. What do you like here?
Cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls. Awesome. Really?
I have to start every Saturday morning by coming to Time and Dough.
Well, as fun as it is to just shop for the time and drool over the dough, I'm starving. I think it's time to eat them both.
I had to mix a little sweet and a little salty. I got one of their sticky buns, and then I got one of their breakfast croissants. It's a croissant with eggs, cheese, pesto, and chicken sausage. Oh man, this sandwich is dangerous. That might be the best breakfast sandwich I've ever tasted. The eggs have that right amount of grease in them. The chicken sausage is delicious. You take something that feels like a familiar breakfast sandwich and then you throw pesto in, man, it changes the game for it. Takes the sandwich over the top. Man, I saw one of these, I couldn't help myself. That's one of their homemade sticky buns. It's a good thing I don't live across the street from this place. I'd be here every day for breakfast.
Well, my belly is now bursting with dough, but the time, she is a-ticking. Better get to exploring Dripping Springs, or as the locals say, Drippin'. It's a small town of less than 2,000 folks that boasts being the gateway to the hill country. It's basically just a few blocks and stoplights nestled along Highway 290. And believe it or not, there actually is a Dripping Springs.
Like most places in Texas, the folks needed a reason to put the towns where they did. And for dripping, that was the Dripping Springs.
The namesake springs of this town sit on the private property of the Homestead B&B. But luckily, owner Charles Hayden was nice enough to take us down.
Well, here they are. And I'd say that judging by this water flow, Dripping Springs was a pretty appropriate name.
Yeah, but back in the day, water didn't have to be abundant, just present. And water like this was a good enough reason to build a town. You see, Dripping Springs is one of those small towns where it's not so much what's in town, but all around town. So we're headed outside of the city limits to experience some of the most beautiful parts of the Texas Hill Country. Starting with the outdoor playground that is Milton Reimer's Ranch. This Travis County park may be the most extreme, outdoorsy chunk of land in the Texas Hill Country, which will require all of my day tripper powers. Mountain biking, rock climbing, hiking, fishing, bird watching, rock hunting, and paddling. So with these powers combined, I have become Super Tripper! Yeah, better just stick with day tripper.
Okay, so here at Reimer's, you definitely can't do everything in a day. So I've decided that we're gonna do a little rock climbing. But first off, we gotta hike through this little canyon. So let's get to it.
For the climb, I've brought along my friends, Jamie and Brandon. Well, because climbing is one of those things that absolutely requires a safety buddy. While Reimer's recently opened an incredible new climbing area called North Shore, today we're sticking to the classic side, past the ridiculously hard overhang climbs, all the way to something a little more my speed.
Welcome to Dead Cat's Wall.
This is one of the mini climbing walls at Reimer's, and the perfect spot for trying something new.
All right, so I'm actually gonna do something today that I've never done in my life. It's called sport climbing or lead climbing, and that's exactly why I brought Brandon along, guide extraordinaire with Live Adventure. Hey, thanks, man, for coming out.
You got it.
All right, lay it on me.
All right, so you have top rope climb before.
Yes, yes.
This is gonna be a greater challenge for you. As you're climbing, there's bolts on the rock, okay? And each bolt is about 5 to 6 feet apart, okay? So as you're climbing, we're gonna click this little device, which is a quick draw. And as you climb, you're gonna clip it, you're gonna reach, grab a rope, put the rope through the quick draw. And then you're gonna continue climbing.
Okay.
So there is a potential for a greater fall.
All right.
But that's a bigger challenge.
Right, exactly.
Whew, what am I getting myself into? In the beginning, the rope is attached to nothing. Nothing! But as soon as I hear the reassuring click at the first bolt, I can breathe a little easier.
All right, one down.
But I still gotta make it to the next one. However, once I hit the anchors at the top, the climb's over, woohoo! And I can come back down to earth.
That was awesome. Sport climbing is a lot more intense than top roping. You think, if I fall, I'm not only falling that distance, I'm falling all the way down to that distance. Oh man, it definitely puts a lot more on the line, but it's worth it. The adrenaline is good, real good.
And now with the rope at the top roping can begin, which is still no joke depending on the difficulty of the climb. This is the popular 8-plate. All right, made it up that one. Woo-hoo! Yeah, but I think it's now time to challenge myself on a much tougher lead. First few bolts, no problem. But then,
Man, this rock has just turned on me.
and here's where it gets tricky. So I see the bolt, but actually getting to it is an entirely different issue. Woo! Nothing to keep you humble like hanging out 40 feet up on a limestone rock. Then the final push to the anchors.
Yeah, I had to work for it. That's the hardest climb I've ever done. Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon, for the coaching.
You got it.
When you're above your last bolt, your mind starts playing tricks on you. Every half centimeter of finger that you can get on the rock makes all the difference. And look, right here, it just sort of smoothed out and I was stuck up there. Just little pinkies and nubbins to hold on to. But I made it. Boom. Yep, coming down.
And after something as intense as rock climbing, I think it's time for something a little more chilled out. So we're headed just down the road for a pristine hike through the West Cave Preserve.
Welcome to West Cave Preserve. My name is John and I will be your guide today.
The preserve exists around an amazing natural grotto, formed over tens of thousands of years by water and erosion. And the added bonus to seeing it is the nature hike to get there.
We're going to visit 2 plant communities today. The first one is an ash juniper live oak savanna that's typical of the hill country. A lot of people will tell you the juniper tree is not a native to Texas. It is a native. It's been around for thousands of years. Its natural habitat is on the edge of a canyon.
Stepping onto West Cave Preserve is like stepping into nature in its most beautiful and untouched state. Hill country overlooks of the Pedernales, down to canyons and creek beds. And as the trail descends, we step into the second habitat of West Cave Preserve, the riparian woodland.
It's so quiet down here. You just hear the birds and the trees and the wind moving through it. Wow.
This is Hines Branch, our spring-fed creek. All of this water is leaking through the limestone rock. We have a large chinkapin oak back here. It's a real majestic oak tree. We've got
We now interrupt this programming to remind you to like and subscribe. Now back to the road. As you see, a trip to West Cave Preserve isn't just about the destination, but the journey to get there.
Look at this. So we came around the corner and this Texas spiny lizard ran off. And as she ran away, she scattered her lizard eggs. John pointed them out, or else I would have just thought they were rocks. Hopefully she'll come back and collect her eggs, put them back in the hole so we can have more baby Texas spiny lizards. But that's just kind of neat, you know, the little things that happen when you're on the trail. You never know what's gonna happen when you're out here.
And just a bit further, we arrive at the West Cave Grotto.
This is called a collapsed grotto feature. It has been at different places along the creek throughout the last 150,000 years. It's been at this location for about 50,000 years.
Look at this. It's a little piece of paradise plopped down in the Texas hill country.
When we go up these stairs behind the waterfall, it's important to watch your step. It gets kind of slippery. This is the Cow Creek limestone. The rock layer that used to support it is behind me. This is the Hammett shale. It's very soft along the edges, much softer than the limestone. So when the water's rushing across these 2 rock layers, the Hammett shale erodes, leaving this unsupported. We've got stalactites hanging off the ceiling up here and stalagmite base here on the ground.
This place is amazingly beautiful. And yes, there is a cave at West Cave.
This cave is unique. It's not a cavern. It's not a deep hole underground where we have stale air. Our formations are growing very rapidly because we have a lot of airflow through this small cave formation. This is all mineral curtain formed 1 drop of water at a time. And this is how everything starts, with just 1 drop of water. Here at the base of the curtain, you see stalagmites.
This grotto is like something you'd envision in the rainforest. Lush green ferns, waterfalls. It's sort of hard to believe that we're still in Texas. But that's what I love about day tripping, the unexpected. You know, it's too bad you can't swim here anymore, because I could definitely use a dip. And no worries, because I've got something in mind just up the road.
So West Cave Preserve might have a no swim policy, but the good news is there's another place just up the road that's even bigger, just as beautiful, and way more swimmable. So let's take a hike, shall we? To Hamilton Pool.
Hamilton Pool may be only a mile away from West Cave, but it can take much longer to get here. Just arrive early or else your swimming trip could turn into one epic parking lot trip. Luckily, we just missed the crowd, so it's clear sailing, or clear hiking. Down to the creek and around the rocks to Hamilton Pool we go. Here it is.
Man, is this not beautiful? Look at the limestone overhanging, the hill country water. Look at all these happy people. How could anyone be unhappy out here?
Certainly not this day tripper, but after a day spent climbing and hiking, it's time to hit the water.
Yes, prime real estate. As you can see, this place is kind of popular. It gets pretty deep out in the middle of the pool, so if you just want to lounge around, you got to either do it here on the beach or you got to bring a floaty.
Yeah, passing out isn't exactly relaxing, but hitting the water is. Is this not amazing? Cool water, warm sunshine, and a little heaven on earth that man had nothing to do with. There's evidence that humans have been enjoying this area for over 8,000 years. One of the things that makes Hamilton Pool so special is the huge overhanging limestone, making this perhaps the most dramatic swimming hole in Texas.
So as you can see, this grotto was actually formed just like West Cave. The softer rock underneath eroded, and it left this big limestone overhang that sometime in the next 10, 100,000 years is gonna fall, but hopefully not today.
Yeah, today Hamilton Pool isn't dangerous, just dang relaxing. And it's been that way for a long, long time.
It's a lot warmer, but it kind of hurts a little bit. Sort of like a really horrible massage.
Man, this is beautiful. I got the warm sun on my shoulders, the cold water on my feet. This is what it's all about. And the sad thing is, there's a lot of people in Texas and even in the hill country, they have no idea this is here. It's a little oasis right here. And I got nothing to do but sit here and enjoy it.
But actually, we do have more to do, if you can believe it. So it's time to head back to the town of Dripping Springs. Now, I might not have much hair, but that doesn't mean I can't make a little trip to the barber shop. Yeah, so as you can see, this place might be a little different than what you were expecting. But you aren't alone. Since opening, 78 folks have mistakenly come in here looking for haircuts, only to find owner John McIntosh ready to pour him a pint.
All right, so I guess I'm not getting a haircut today.
No, not gonna get a haircut. I'd vote for beer. I mean, I've got an old pocket knife we could try, but
I don't have much hair to cut off right now.
yeah,
So,
I don't think it'd go well. Beer's a better option.
yeah, then I will definitely have a beer.
And if you ask nice enough, he'll even throw some darts with you.
I'll let you throw first, good sir, since you're the owner of this establishment.
No, that's, I don't know if that's safe or not, but we'll try.
Just don't hit Richie. Tell me about this this building.
Building was built in 1925. It was a gas station. This was the first stop on the Austin-Fredericksburg Highway. And then it's been a motorcycle repair shop, and then about the mid-'80s, it was a barber shop.
So it has actually been a barber shop.
Right, and when it was a barber shop, it was just this front room. I get a lot of people, you know, we're gonna go get a trim, meet up later. That's kind of the code word for
Get it. Go get a trim.
right.
Whether you're just looking for a trim or a totally new do, John's got you covered.
There's so many new breweries in Central Texas and in Texas right now. Of 18 taps we have on, 15 to 16 are Texas taps.
And that even includes his own house brews.
I try and stick to English-style pub ales, bitters, milds, porters, stouts, those kind of things. Bald Spot ESB. We did a British mild. It was mullet mild.
Yep, John and the barbershop are sitting right in the middle of an excellent craft beer explosion. And it's catching on, even in Dripping Springs.
What's new? That's the big question. What's new? What do we have that's, you know, you can see them just going across the tap hole? I haven't seen that one before.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Yeah, no, I think the crew's probably pretty thirsty.
Yeah, and I think it's time that the crew had themselves a little trim. So a little pre-dinner craft brew is an appetizer. And now it's time for the main course. Now, delicious barbecue joints are rare enough, but ones that allow you to eat and eat until you practically pass out from the smoky goodness are simply magical, especially when they're called Salt Lick. So pop a cold one or grab a fresh squeezed lemonade and get ready for one of the greatest barbecue experiences in Texas.
What do you think about Salt Lake? What do you think
It's
about
the best barbecue in Texas.
the best in Texas?
In Texas. You walk in, you see the pit, and you start drooling like a dog.
The ambiance, the atmosphere, it's awesome. The music is great, and then of course the food. You can't beat the food.
We live in Dripping Springs,
Okay, just up the road.
just right up the road.
Now, how often do you get to make it down here?
Probably too often.
What's your favorite thing?
My favorite is the brisket, and if you're nice to the waitress, they'll bring you the burnt ends.
Okay. You gotta ask real sweet though, right?
Nice for the burnt ends.
All right, I'm getting my plan of attack. But before I get all meaty, how about a chat with the owner?
All right, so this is Scott, the owner of the Salt Lick.
How you
Thanks
doing?
so much. I'm doing great.
Good.
Standing in front of this pit, I'm getting hungrier and hungrier.
That's what it's here for.
There we go. So tell me about this place. How did the Salt Lick get started?
My grandparents bought this place in 1902 where we were standing. My father grew up, he was born right on top of the hill. In 1967, he brought me down here. He got out of his truck and he looked around and he took his boot and he made a mark in the ground with his heel. He went back and got his barbecue fork and he walked over and he held it out like this. That's what we used to size the pit. And we built this big thing out in the complete open. People would come and they would get meats and they would eat off the hood of their truck or the tailgate, stuff like that. And then a friend of his had him put a picnic table out.
Yeah.
And that's the start of the restaurant. With no electricity, no running water, no bathrooms.
It's pretty incredible for such humble roots to turn into this. Salt Lick now has a winery and a wedding spot, but it all comes back to one thing: meat.
The way we cook was what was handed down to him from generation to generation. So the pits that you see here are a recreation of the way they were cooking when they came in the wagon trains.
Okay.
And he said that, it's probably more traditional because there weren't any trailer hitches on the back of wagons to pull all those close smokers. When we first started cooking, we used pecan, but we burned all our pecan up. And so now we use live oak.
Okay.
But we take pecan hulls and soak them in water like people do hickory chips.
Yeah.
And if you have a flare up, we throw the pecan in there too, so it puts that pecan flavor in there too.
Sure, sure.
They came from the southeast, so really our barbecue sauce is more of a southeastern sauce. There's no tomatoes in it. It's got a lot of vinegar and sugar in it, and then it's just been Texified over the years.
Aha, yes, the Salt Lick sauce, a key component of the Salt Lick experience. So delicious, it's been said that it's good on anything, which I may or may not know firsthand. I am ashamed. But the thing everybody agrees it goes best with is barbecue.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is ridiculous. I'm a family of one, but they treated me like a family of 12. Here's what we have here: brisket and, as requested, some burnt ends there on the side, the big old whopping pork ribs, and sausage. Throw some beef ribs on the top and you got yourself a Salt Lick meal. But there is no good way to start eating this much food. Burnt ends. It's the end of the brisket. It gets the absolute best thick bark on it. Oh man. It dries out but stays moist in the middle. Moving down the line, some of the big old pork ribs. These ribs are absolutely some of the best in Texas. Kept wet the whole time, and they come out and the sauce is sort of caramelized on the outside. And then don't be shy, you just cover them all right up. Someone must like me back in the kitchen. They sent out a whole platter of beef ribs. Slow cooked, so tender, so juicy. The fat is rendered perfectly, so saucy. Man, the sauce alone is enough reason to come to Salt Lick. But I cannot stop. This is phenomenal. There's a lot of people that'll tell you when you come to an all-you-can-eat barbecue meal that you never waste time on the sides. But I'm not a very strong man. I can't do it. I have to eat it all. I want it all.
What a day in Dripping. It truly is the gateway to some of the Hill Country's greatest adventures and greatest feasts. And Ben Franklin was wrong, because time out here isn't money. It's much better.
Wow. But you know, with this family-style meal, I think the only thing missing at this point is my day tripper family. What are you guys waiting on? Come on, get in here. We got good barbecue on the table. Yeah. Come on, sit down, friends. Yes. All right. So I'll see all y'all out on the road. Vaya con Dios, amigos. All right. Eat up, boys and girls, excuse me. Now, like most places in Texas, the folks needed a reason to put the towns where they did. Car. All right, so I'm actually gonna do something that I've never done today or any day. All right, and that's exactly why All right.
I think we're making him nervous.
Yeah, we're taking way too long.
Or lead climbing, depending on what type of. All right.
Howdy, y'all. Follow along with my adventures at Chet Tripper on Instagram and at The Day Tripper TV on Facebook and YouTube. Or head to thedaytripper.com for travel guides, past episodes, and info on our mobile app and Team Day Tripper. This episode was made for y'all with the help of our awesome partners. Check the caption for more info. Howdy, y'all. Chet the Day Tripper here. Thanks so much for tripping with us. Remember, while you're here, like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can stay out there on the road and keep on tripping. Did we miss anything in this town? Leave us a comment, let us know. We love finding out about new stops with all of your tips. And if you love Epic Texas Day Trips, remember to check our channel. We got a lot of them on there. Also, don't forget, if you want some sweet Day Tripper merch or another cool Texas-made product, come see us in Georgetown at the Day Tripper World Headquarters. You can also shop online if you check the link down there in the caption. All right, y'all. Bye con Dios, amigos.